Yo, what's up, YouTube? It is I, Otaku Gamer Lord Drei, back again with another Real Talk Rant and Rave video. And, well, before I start about the subject of today's video, let me just say that I haven't been uploading as much as I can because I still have to get into the rhythm of things, but I think I'm starting to piece it together. However, this rhythm isn't as predictable as I would want it to be, but I digress. On today's Real Talk Rant and Rave, it was a toss up. I had the option of talking about something that really fucking frustrates me, or talk about something that really fucking excites me. And seeing as how I'm not in the best mood right now, I'm going to talk about something that excites me to basically cheer myself up, and I'll save the frustrating shit for next time. So, on today's Real Talk Rant and Rave, I wanted to talk about something that may decide the fate of the JRPG. And that is, what game am I most excited for? Persona 5 or Final Fantasy 15? And I gotta tell you, being someone who's into RPGs in general, I've noticed that JRPGs have been taking a hit. You know, JRPGs have taken a hit throughout the years, and it's basically down to the fact that JRPGs are no longer um, that influential in gaming anymore. It's practically a niche. However, two games on the horizon is set to prove that JRPGs still have a lot of life in them. And those two games are Final Fantasy 15 and Persona 5. And which one am I most excited for? Well, watch this video if you want to find out. Now, before I cut straight to the chase, let me just say that I am equally excited for Final Fantasy 15 and Persona 5. However, that isn't going to cut the cheese in this video. I need to be firm, I need to be definitive in the game that I pick that I'm most excited for out of those games, right? And truth be told, I'm hoping that these games come out this year. I know Final Fantasy 15 will. However, Persona 5 is looking kind of iffy, though I'm hoping Atlas is cool enough to release it this year in the States as well. But let's start off with Final Fantasy 15. Now, Final Fantasy 15 is a game that I remember being announced 3 years ago in 2013 when they showed a graphic for Final Fantasy Versus 13 and then scrapped it and then showed Final Fantasy 15, which basically meant that they were using the same assets for Final Fantasy Versus 13, but seeing as how people hate the 13 series, they basically decided, let's not name this Final Fantasy Versus 13. And what's amazing is that just a couple years before we got the announcement for Final Fantasy 15, they were still putting out trailers for Versus 13, you know? And now they've scrapped it and announced that Final Fantasy 15 is basically using assets from Versus 13. Now, the first trailer we got for Final Fantasy 15, I remember seeing back in the day, and I was like, holy shit, I was totally excited for it. Now, it was misleading because I thought that the game would be a sort of character driven action, RPG hybrid with a lot of set pieces, like the way, the set pieces are in Uncharted. Because in the first trailer for Final Fantasy 15, we basically saw Noctis like run through a castle, all of the rooms beating on bad guys. His party is beating on bad guys, and he's outside of the castle warping his shit. And then you saw like the castle entrance. There's like these huge fucking Final Fantasy enemies, and his party is helping him defeat them and shit. and it was totally fucking epic. And then the trailer ended with Noctis in a huge body of water with Leviathan in the distance. So yeah, I assumed that Final Fantasy 15 was going to be an action game RPG hybrid with a lot of action set pieces like Uncharted. However, we got another trailer which showed the Final Fantasy 15 characters in a car driving past a huge fucking turtle. And I got to thinking, holy shit, no way. And then, yeah, yes way. Final Fantasy 15 was basically supposed to be an open world game. And I was like, holy fuck, because you saw like the driving mechanics like you would get in the GTA games. But then I saw these huge fucking monsters, and I got to thinking, hey, what if this is like fucking Monster Hunter, like a Monster Hunter type game where you fight these fucking big monsters and you have to dispatch of them strategically, but it's a Final Fantasy game, so there's going to be a lot of that Final Fantasy stuff in there as well. And I got to thinking, yeah, Final Fantasy, but it's basically a combination of Monster Hunter and Grand Theft Auto. I'm on that. I'm on that so much. But then I played the Final Fantasy episode Dusky demo. Didn't quite play exactly as I wanted it to, but it was still a good demo. And then the Platinum demo. And then I got to thinking, like, there were certain things I didn't like about the Platinum demo. More specifically, the auto target, because now the game just feels like Kingdom Hearts. I'm hoping they take that out for the final release, but who knows? At this point, they probably won't. However, it's still good. And Final Fantasy 15, I'm excited for because for the most part, we know that it's going to be kind of open world, but with smaller areas as well. And I'm already sold. It's getting tiring to look at it all the time, but at least it's coming out this year. So yeah, real time combat. I've seen it. It looks great. Can't wait to play it. Now let's go on to Persona 5. Persona 5, I remember being announced with a teaser trailer back in 2013, with the chairs, and you basically saw like the slave ankle balls, whatever, with the chains on them, whatever the fuck those are called. And then we got a real actual gameplay trailer last year. Before that we had an anime sort of trailer. But last year we got a gameplay trailer and it looked great. Persona 5 looked like it was oozing with a lot more personality than the past Persona games. It had this color scheme of red and black, and the kids were basically cosplaying as different sort of thieves, with the masks and whatnot. And we saw a little bit of that. However, I love the Persona formula of random dungeons and traditional RPG combat with some dating sim slash social simulation mechanics in there. So I was already excited for Persona 5, and we saw just a little bit of it last year. However, we saw more of it this year with a brand new kick-ass trailer that really shows that this game is going to be quite the looker on PS4. So, long story short, as for Persona 5, I'm mostly excited to see where the story goes, and I'm interested in the characters. It's definitely got more style than Final Fantasy 15. However, the combat system isn't a step up like Final Fantasy 15 is. It's still traditional turn-based, which I think turn-based should be a dead term. I prefer the term command-based. But they're going to have to innovate and come up with some sort of real-time thing for Persona 6. However, I'm still excited for Persona 5 because of the story and characters. Now, here's the defining moment. Which game am I most excited for? Persona 5 or Final Fantasy 15? And the answer is Final Fantasy 15. The reason why is because, Square Enix really let fans down with Final Fantasy 13, and they continued that. And it looks like Square Enix is dead set on fixing a lot of the problems, and now instead of confined spaces like in Final Fantasy 13, we got huge open areas to explore, like open world. And instead of a combat system that doesn't quite work, we got real-time combat going on. So Final Fantasy 15 is a step in the right direction. So gameplay-wise, I like it more. However, story and characters and on plot and all of that stuff, I'm more about in Persona 5 because it looks a lot more interesting. And as close as these two games were, they were going neck and neck. I got to go with Final Fantasy 15 being my most anticipated JRPG right now. Out of those two. And it was very close. It was a very tough decision, but like I said, man, open world with action, real time combat, it's the best decision for Final Fantasy right now. So yeah, Final Fantasy 15 and Persona 5. I'm more excited for Final Fantasy 15. Anyways, guys, thanks for watching.